Home purchases. Am I ready to buy? Let's look at renting versus homeowners over the 7 years. And as you can see, rent payments go up as the years go up. And when you buy a home, your mortgage payment stays the same. So at about year 3 is when you turn the corner and start saving money from purchasing a home. And every year after that, the savings only increases. So it's very easy to see that you can benefit from buying a home. Now, when the media talks about is it should you rent or should you buy, they're taking the first year into consideration, saying, well, your rent payment's $800, your mortgage payment's $1,000, you should rent. Not taking into consideration anything else, that rents go up and your mortgage payment stays the same. And not take consideration the amount of savings you get from taxes and also appreciation and principal reduction. And as you can see by this chart, this is from the HUD for Des Moines area fair market rent. Rents go up pretty much every single year. What are the advantages of renting? Well, you've got a lower initial housing cost, but there's also disadvantages. You don't have any tax incentives, no fixed housing costs, and you're not building any equity. But there's also some issues with buying a home. So what are the advantages of buying a home? Well, home ownership, you get to build wealth over time. You build equity every month. You have privacy. It's very good investment. Stable year-to-year housing costs. You have the pride of ownership, strong community ties, and significant tax incentives. Well, what are the disadvantages? You have a long-term commitment. You have to pay for the maintenance and the repair of the house. There's not a lack of flexibility for moving, and usually more expensive than renting initially with higher upfront costs. And there's a possibility of foreclosure. So look at this chart. This is buying a $350,000 purchase in the Des Moines area, 10% down at 6.75% interest on a 30-year fix. This is assuming 2% increase in taxes per year, and a 1% rent increase per year. You will see over the 10-year period, you have a positive net worth of $114,171. That's quite significant. The longer that you rent, the less money you're going to be able to get. Net worth is a big deal. Homeowners' net worth average is $255,000. Renters' net worth $6,300. So you can see that's over 40 times the difference in net worth. Real estate has been the top investment since 2011, and it's not even close. Let's take a look at this. This is a S&P Case-Shiller Housing Price Index that shows what housing does over time since 1960 to current. And what happens in the shaded areas are the recessions. So housing prices have only been down 5 years in 80 years. Where are you going to find a better investment than that? There's not a possibility that stock prices have the same kind of appreciation over time that housing does. When you're buying a home, you can take things into consideration like a 2-1 buy down, so your payments are lower when you start out. The buy downs are paid usually by the seller, and that lowers your payment by 2% on the first year and then 1% on the second year. Obviously, the total amount of savings is lower as a lower loan amount, but let's take the $240,000 loan to start. Total savings over the 2-year period is $5,718. If your loan amount is $400,000, you can save $9,530. And look at the example of $640,000 loan, $15,250 by just doing a 2-1 buy down. This allows you to grow into your payment, so you have a lower payment to start. Thus, the transition from the rent to the buying is not as difficult. But here's the real kicker: it costs you money when you wait to buy a house. And as you can see on this, 6 months, property values go up roughly 2.5%. Waiting 1 year, 2.74%. 2 years, 6.58%, and over 3 years, 10.52%. Look at the dollars that you're losing. On the graph on the left is the appreciation of the property, and on the payments, they are increasing over time. So if you wait 6 months to buy a $350,000 home, you're losing out on $10,476. At 1 year, $13,120. After 2 years, $30,370, and 3 years, $48,194 by waiting to purchase a new home. And this is just another graph that shows you in a different way that's easier to read what the cost of waiting is based on amortization and appreciation that you're going to lose by not buying now. But buying is a good idea. Let's look at this. The largest hedge fund raised over $50 billion to buy real estate. I wonder if they think real estate's a good investment. Housing shortage means prices go up, just like any other supply and demand equation. Sellers may be willing to pay for your closing costs and maybe a lower cost of the home because there's not as much competition out there. But whatever the case may be, the real situation is buying sooner than later. And let's hear what one of the most popular money investor advisors in the world has to say about buying a home.
The thing that's happening with real estate is interest rates have gone way up. They're bumping up close to 7% now on a 30-year fixed, up from the 3s. And, 7% in the scope of a life as long as mine is very low. I remember lots of years selling real estate, 11, 12%, 10%, 9%. Lots of years I was on the radio, it was 10%. When I started this show, it was 10%. And so then it came down to 6, and we thought we were in nirvana. But then when it goes to 3 and it goes up to 7, see, 7's not good as compared to 3, but it's really good compared to 12. So it's an emotional thing. So here's what I'm telling you. The other article we got was from Bloomberg, talks about the people that have bought homes, their values are continuing to go up, especially if you bought like in Austin, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, you bought in these areas, Dallas, Texas, you're buying in Phoenix, Arizona, have they gone down a little bit in some of those areas in the last 4 or 5 months? Yeah, a little bit.
Asking prices too.
And this price asking, because some of it really gone crazy up. And so it's settling, but it's not diving, it's not crashing. And what's happening is these people that bought are going to become inordinately more wealthy over the next 3 years than people who rented, because rents are also going through the roof. And so rents are sucking the disposable income out of the renter's budget, where when you buy, because guess what happens to rents? Every year they go up just about. Almost every single year rents go up. When you buy a house at 6% or 7%, it doesn't go up. You're locking in one of your largest expenses, and the value of the property is going up because it's not crashing, unless you're in one of those areas we mentioned, right? It's not crashing. Overall, we don't have a 2008 situation, and you're going to become wealth inequality based on home ownership is going to be more and more of a thing. And so what all that is to say is, if you haven't bought a house and you're thinking about buying a house and you're sitting on the sidelines waiting on interest rates to come down, they're not going to come down any minute. And waiting on house prices to come down, they're not going to come down. They're going to go up. You need to go buy a freaking house right now. It's a great time to buy a house because there's not a lot of people around the block trying to buy that house right this second. You're not going to steal it. And if you're getting ready to sell a house, you need to have the expectation it's going to take you 90 days to sell a house right now, like it has most of the time in the history of real estate. Most of the time in the history of real estate, that's how it's gone. And so you need to have a 90-day expectation on selling and negotiating on your price. That's normal. And if you're thinking about buying, you ought to go buy right now.
And like we said, a real estate reality check, you can always refi later when the rates come back down.
Yeah. And if they come back down to 3, and they might, sure hope they do, that'd be wonderful, then refinance and get rid of that higher mortgage, but you've locked in the price of the house.
So there you go. Remember, when rates go down, more people will get into the market. There'll be more competition, less negotiation with the seller for a lower price or concessions, and possibly bidding higher than listed price to beat the other offers. The best way to get started buying your home is to apply online. So you can scan the code and fill out the short application, or give me a call, shoot me a text, or shoot me an email, and let's get this process started for you.